Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and another installment of Questions and Coffee with David. This is where I get up early in the morning. It is literally 5:01 a.m. and I answer all the questions that have been sent in over the last few days to help you with all your stuff around mixing, mastering, recording, and home studio type questions. So before we get to this week's questions, if you like what you see in this video, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out tremendously. Also, be sure to go out to facebook.com/HomeRecordingMadeEasy and follow me there. And for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around all aspects of home recording, mixing, and mastering, as always, go out to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and be sure to check out the Quick Mix series along with the Made Easy series, as that will help you make better music in your home studio, I promise. So now let's get on to this week's first question. Okay, question number one comes from Tom, and Tom writes in, "Hi David, when I'm recording bass guitar straight into the interface, I'm getting a bass woof sound. I'm not sure if it's my room or heavy-handed compression. Most of all, I struggle with controlling the consistency because I'm not a bass guitar player. I play a lot of six-string guitar but rarely bass. They have their own style and technique, of course, so I can play and get all the fundamentals down. I struggle with making the lower strings sound as consistent as the higher strings. Thinner strings, for instance, between the bottom E and the A string. Any tips on handling consistency? I can mix in some really awesome drums. But I've always struggled with bass guitar. Thanks so much." Well, Tom, thanks for writing in. Yeah, that's a pretty common problem. If you're a guitar player and you're not really a bass player and you're trying to record bass, whether you're playing with a pick or with your fingers, you tend to have some inconsistency problems. The low strings tend to be a lot more heavy-handed than the upper strings. That's natural. This is where compression can really help you. Now, compression is not going to solve all your problems depending on how dynamic that range is. If it's way all over the place, you're going to have to work on, unfortunately, playing a little more consistent. So if you're not really a bass player, try not to play with your fingers, play with a pick, especially if you're a guitar player. That will help. Try to use maybe a lighter gauge pick. That might help so you don't have such a heavy hand. And you just got to work at it and just try to play consistently. Now again, no matter what you do, you're going to have some dynamic range, and this is where a compressor can help you. So you can try to compress on the way in, maybe use a 4:1 or even an 8:1 ratio, and try to give yourself about 6 to 8 dB of compression. That will help and tighten up that performance. Now be sure not to over compress because you don't want it to be really squashy, but experiment with some compression on the way into your recording. But most importantly, work on your technique and try using a thinner pick. If you're playing with your fingers, that's going to be a lot more inconsistent if you're not really a bass player, so then play with a pick, and that should help you. So I would try those things first, and if you have any other questions or if that doesn't really help you, write in again and we'll try to help you a little bit further, but that would be my recommendation. Okay, so thanks for writing in, Tom, and now let's move on to question number two. Okay, question number two comes from Marissa, and Marissa writes in about the Kemper, has a Kemper question, and she writes, "Can you give me an honest opinion on the Kemper? I've been doing the research as well, and I really love the capability of this profiler. I have about 25, I have had 25 amps of all the classics, and I really like the idea of this format. Can you give me an honest opinion of this? I don't expect it to be a 10 out of 10, but a 9 would be good enough. Thanks in advance." Well, thanks, Marissa, for writing in. Yes, I used to own a Kemper. I no longer own a Kemper. I've answered this a couple of times on different videos throughout my channel, and it's really just because the Kemper died on me. Physically it died. The unit was a malfunction, and I sent it back to Sweetwater, which is where I bought it from, and they took real good care of me. So I would recommend, if you buy anything, buy it from Sweetwater.com, and so you can, and also ask for Josh S-Stock, 1375 is his extension. He will take real good care of you. But anyway, the Kemper died. Now, prior to it dying, I've had it for about a month, maybe 6 weeks. And I gotta say, I really liked it. If you are someone who has a lot of different amps that you want to profile, like your amp collections, you don't want to take them out of your studio, or if you're someone who needs a different variety of tones in the studio, then, and I would say more than 3 tones, then I would say a Kemper might be a good option. The Kemper, from the sound point of view and from an accuracy point of view, does it sound like the real amp? Yes, it does. It's the closest thing I've ever heard. Now, there's a little caveat to that. You want to make sure that you use some third-party profiles. Michael Britt comes to mind, Chop Tones, and Top Jimmy are the 3 that I would use. And I use some of their Marshalls and their Friedmans and their Dumbles and such. and a couple of fenders, and they were dead on. They were great. The stock profiles that come with the Kemper, I personally wasn't crazy about, but you also, once you have a Kemper, you can join like their community forum, and people are swapping profiles back and forth, and there's a lot of good profiles out there, but there's thousands of them, and I didn't have the time to sift through 1,000, so I would just buy some of the well-known third-party ones, like the Michael Britt ones come to mind. They're fantastic and they're really affordable. So I would say if you need more than 3 tones, it's a great option. If you do a lot of reamping of guitars in your studio, it's a great option. However, if you really don't need that much variety, I'd say it's an awfully big price tag for something like that. And after mine died, I didn't get a new one because I found that it was just a little bit beyond what I really needed. There's a lot of tweakability. There's a lot of things that you can do with it. And I'm not really that kind of a guy. I thought I would like to be, but I'm really not. I'm a more, plug your guitar straight into a Marshall style amp and go. And that's what, and have very few pedals on the floor. I don't need to have a wide variety of options like the Kemper can provide. The other thing about the Kemper, one of the things I didn't like is I was not thrilled with their reverb and delays. But their amp profiles were really, really good if you buy the right profile. So if you're someone who has a lot of amps and you want to do your own profiling and you can learn how to do it well and learn how to record and profile your amp well, then it's a great option. If you only need to have 1, 2, or maybe up to 3 tones, I would tell you for the price of a Kemper, you can buy 3 really great tube heads on the used market, especially, where if you wanted a Fender Marshall and a high gain sound, for example, for a lot less money than a Kemper. So that's kind of my opinion. It was a great piece of kit while I had it, but it died on me, and I decided to let it go, get my money back, and I ended up buying a Friedman, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any other Kemper questions, you can send them in. I'll try to answer them the best I can. So now let's head on over to question number 3. Okay, question number 3 comes from YouTube. It was from the name, I'm going to butcher the name and I apologize, NGmatic Aquarius. And they write in, just found your channel and I love it. I subscribed. Well, thanks so much. I really do appreciate that. I'm planning on getting an Argosy desk and a Studio Live for my studio because I record with Studio One. The only thing is I want to switch to an iMac. With the desk that has a spot for a built-in Studio Live, is there space for an iMac on the same desk? Any ideas? I'm not sure. If you're talking about my Argosy workstation, and I have a 2-part video series on that whole transformation from one workstation to another, you can go check that out. A lot of people seem to like that video. I bought the Argosy Dual 15L desk, which is the largest desk they make before you get into a real customized stuff. I don't know the exact dimensions. You can go to their website and check it out. I believe it's like 86 inches across. It's large. It's like about 6 feet long. That was made to have 2 27-inch computer monitors side by side with plenty of room. So the answer is, even with the Studio Live, and I have now the Studio Live 32 on that desk with a 30-inch Dell monitor, and everything fits perfectly. So you should be able to put an iMac with the Studio Live if that's what you want to do. It depends on which version of the Studio Live you're going to get. But I would say go out to Argosy's website, check out the dimensions. Their workstations are fantastic. They're built like a tank. They're really sleek looking and high quality looking and feeling, and they're a great desk, but they're expensive. But I looked at it as an investment, and it's the last desk I'll ever buy, hopefully, knock on wood. So I hope that answers your question. If you have any other questions about my workstation specifically, you could go out to the YouTube channel, check out the 2-part video series. I go into a lot more detail, and you can see it kind of all set up in action, so you can see kind of what fits and what doesn't. And then head on over to the Argosy website. You could buy a desk directly from them, and you could buy it direct and they'll ship it to you anywhere in the United States. So I hope that answers your question. Any more questions on that, feel free to write in. And that's it for this week's Questions and Coffee video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please hit that subscribe button and head out to Facebook and give me some love over there, as well as follow me on Twitter. And again, for more tips, tricks, concepts, and training around everything home recording, be sure to head out to homerecordingmadeeasy.com. And until the next Questions and Coffee video, this has been David, and I will speak to you guys all soon. Take care.